High ping can be an absolute nightmare, especially when trying to play Fortnite, which is a very heavy ping related game. But today I'm going to teach you exactly how to fight when playing on high ping. First of all, cut out the speed. Whenever we watch the best fighters like Noah Rayleigh, there is one thing we see, and that is how quick they edit and build. This makes us think to be a good fighter, we need to be super quick and mechanical. Instead, focus on the basics of Fortnite. This is what actually makes them a good fighter. Obviously, the speed makes them much harder to be predicted, but when you're on high ping, you need to focus on the basics of being able to take safe peaks, going for high ground and playing to your strength. So my first tip is to cut out all the speed in your game. So I could get proper research for this video, I decided to switch my region from my normal region of EU to NA Central, where I play on 120 ping. I've played multiple games in diamond lobbies, so I can come up with some of the best tips for you. And I think one of the biggest questions I get asked about high ping is that, Taven, I play on high ping, I can never take walls. How can I take walls? Now, because of your ping, one of the problems is it's hard to take walls on high ping, especially if you're playing against a low ping player. And one of the main strengths of playing on low ping is the fact that you can make a lot of plays, but I'll go into a bit more of this in my next tip. But on high ping, this is not the case. Rather, we need to force them into making a mistake. And one of the best ways to do this is when you have them boxed up. Let me show you. So, when you've got a player boxed up, the chances are you have the advantage in the fight. And usually when you're on low ping, you'll go for a play where you break someone's wall, you'll take the wall and you'll put like a ramp in, and then you can just easily go for a quick edit play like so. Unfortunately, on high ping, we don't have the luxury of going for plays like this. Instead, we should rather force them into making mistakes. So like I said before, we need to slow our play style down. So if someone's in a box like they are here, let's say someone's in there, what you want to do is attack from multiple different angles. So maybe hit the wall once, hold your shotgun out, see what he does, spray it a bit, see if he goes for something. Play slow. You have the advantage here, and it's not like you're going to be able to take walls. Now, my favourite angle to go from when I am playing on high ping, especially when I was playing on NA Central for this video, was up here on like a floor like this, because I can hit walls, I can hit the floor, and I can literally just break loads of things at a time, and then eventually the chances are you'll probably be able to get one of the walls. Now, if you don't know already, you can actually hit the floor when it's in like a cone like this. So my biggest tip is to hit both at the same time. So if you can see, there's like a bit of the floor poking out here. So you can hit it just like that, just by angling your pickaxe in a corner like so. So I recommend to do this in game. Go boom, boom, break that, and then the chances are you might be able to take it. So go hit here, and then you might be able to get the floor. And now that is big. If you can get the floor, then it's much easier for you to get the cone. And then you can get a quick edit down, and the chances are they're not going to be able to predict you. Now, the next mistake I see a lot of people making when they are on high ping is boxing up. So when you're low ping, one of the greatest strengths is when someone's taking your wall, you can literally just hold your wall like this, and the chances are you'll take it. And even still, if they take this wall here, I could probably just go like this and edit out the back. But on high ping is much harder to do, especially in game. I mean, it's fairly easy for me to do in creative, but in game is a lot harder. So instead, we need to make a lot of room. I recommend that you don't hold your walls, you just keep making these L-shaped boxes like so. So when he comes to take this, you can go for a pre-fire, reset back, then he comes for this wall, you can maybe go for window edit. If he ends up taking this wall, you can keep coming back. Now just keep making these L-shaped boxes. You will burn through a ton of mats like this, but it is the best way to try and get some meds off and survive, especially when playing on high ping. Now, your best bet really is to get a big counter shot back on them, rather than medding up, because medding up can be hard, especially when they can literally just take your wall super easy. Go for some counter damage, go for a play, hit them, edit back, keep making lots of room for yourself, and then obviously use these angles and stuff as well to your advantage. In my other tip, I mentioned playing off your opponent. Rather than making plays on low ping, one of the advantages of having these quick edits is the ability to force builds into people's boxes and make these big plays. Rather on high ping, your focus needs to be more on intent, meaning every play you make needs to have purpose. My favourite player to watch for this is Reet, especially when he plays in the solo cash cup. It seems like everything he does seems to have a great purpose behind it, and this is how you should be playing. Rather than trying to go for these quick mechanical full piece plays, you're goal should be to play slow and force players into making these mistakes. Stop the video right now. We're on the road to 10k subs and you have not subscribed yet. Hit that subscribe button right now because I post Fortnite tips 2 times a week. And there's a high chance once you click off this video, you'll never see my channel again. So if you want to stop dying in Fortnite, please hit that subscribe button. My next tip is to help you force players into mistakes, is to try and study their playstyle. When you fight them, if you hit their wall and they med up and then they edit a window or something to look for a shot, so they med up to bait you into hitting the wall again, then they're most likely going to do this again. So if you hit their wall and they edit out to the right, the chances are if you hit their wall again, they're most likely going to edit out to the right. So you can start to predict what your opponent will do in a scenario. So you can prepare for your opponent's play before he even makes it. One thing you need to know about Fortnite is every single player has a certain play style. And that ranges from the players at the top to me and even you. Even you have your own play style that you have. And even if you're fighting the world's best fighters, they will repeat a lot of the same things. The more you pick up what your opponent is doing in a fight, the easier it's going to be for you to make a plan before they do that move. The thing, if you want to be a good fighter, is stop using your ping as an excuse. Don't die and scream, oh man, only if I had low ping I would have killed him. If there is genuinely nothing you can do to lower your ping, using it as an excuse is going to hurt you more than it helps you. Instead, use your ping to your advantage and make your own play style. Even though you're not in the best scenario being on high ping, there is some massive benefits to high ping as well as some massive downsides of low ping. Like being able to over edit is one of the biggest ones that low ping players have. A lot of the time, it forces players into making these big mistakes and taking big chunks of damage and dying. Another one is trying to do things quick. These are things you cannot do on high pings, so it stops you from making these mistakes. So there are upsides and downsides of both, where I do understand there is a few more downsides to be playing on high ping, but you got to also realise there's some downsides to that low ping as well. So stop blaming your ping for dying in fight. Another thing is there's definitely scenarios you will die in where if you was on low ping, that outcome could have been completely different. Every time you take damage in Fortnite, you made a mistake nevertheless. Great example being if you're in a single box on high ping and the player takes your wall first time and you can't edit out the back because you're ping. Yes, if you was on low ping, the chances are your wall might not have been taken, and if it did, you could have just edited out the back nice and quickly, no problem at all. But there was a crucial mistake you made, and that was not making more room for yourself. If you know you play on high ping, so don't use your ping as an excuse for making some of these mistakes. Just because the outcome could have been different on low ping doesn't mean you need to start playing like a low ping player. Because I've played with high ping players that have been able to rip apart zero ping players, and one thing that is clear is that they don't use their ping as an excuse. This is why we see top tier pros going to NA East, NA Central, just being able to rip apart the region. So many EU pros have gone over to NA East and even won NA East tournaments on 80-90 ping. So if that doesn't just show that it's all about your play style and playing slow rather than mechanical, then I don't know what is. My final tip is to fully abuse the super annoying weapons in the game, as well as abuse a high ground. Epic Games add a lot of weapons in the game to try and help the casual audience of Fortnite, and the hopes of this is to help them compete against some of the better players in Fortnite and help keep them players that are maybe not as good at the game and play now and then, that can very easily switch off and turn to other games. And let's just say this is very good news for you high ping players, because there's some really great examples of different weapons you can just use and abuse in the game currently. A great example is that rocket thing that launches you up in the air. I can't even remember the name of it, but if a guy's boxed up, you can literally just rocket straight through all his builds, come back down, hit him for a 350 damage shot. And that's just one of the many things we got right now. We have shockwaves in the game where you can launch yourself into people's boxes. We have C4 right now where you can just spam them on boxes and they'll fall through and hit a guy. We have a super broken sticky grenade launcher that you need to be using like crazy to help you get high ground and also to destroy players who are boxed up. And that's just a few that I can think of on the top of my head. As a high ping player, you need to be taking this stuff and using it to your advantage. Anyways, that's it for this video. Please subscribe because we're on the road to 10k and I post Fortnite tips at least 2 times a week. So if you like this video, you may also like this video on screen now.